I'm going to tell you about the Canon T3i's Quick Control button. It is a button that allows you to get to a whole bunch of your settings and change some of those settings without having to go through your menus. Nikon has something similar on some of their DSLRs. Theirs is called the Info button. Canon has an Info button on the T3i at least. It doesn't do the same thing though. So let's talk about what this Quick Control button does on the Canon T3i. Okay, so the first screen you see shows you, all the camera, well, not all the camera's information, but a bunch of the information on how your camera is set. And the Quick Control button, as you could have guessed, is the one with the Q on it. So when you press the Quick Control button, you'll see there's a little bit of information on this setting that is lit up right here. So it says shutter speed, and it told us a little bit about what shutter speed is. And I'm talking too long, so it went away. So if you use your main dial at the top, you can change your shutter speed. I have the camera in manual right now. As you can see, there's an M right there, so that you can see that as I move along, you can also go to aperture. If I was in aperture priority, you wouldn't be able to change shutter speed. If I was in shutter priority, you wouldn't be able to change aperture. If I was in program mode, you wouldn't be able to change either one. Those would just be blank when I hit the Quick Control button. So anyway, moving along, I can move through all these settings with the directional keys. So I've got ISO right here, and just going through the main dial, I can change the ISO from all the specific ISOs to auto ISO. And moving along, I can change the exposure compensation, and I can change the flash exposure compensation. I can change the picture controls. If I want to change it, I just hit OK on that, and I can move through and change it to, let's say I'm going to take a landscape photo, so I'm going to change it to landscape. Press set, and it takes me right back to where I was before. And then moving along, I've got white balance. I can again use the main dial to switch to, let's say, daylight. I'm doing a landscape in the daylight. And I can choose to autocorrect image brightness and contrast here. I can do auto, standard, strong. Let's say I'm going to do strong. And I can also choose how the flash is going to behave right here, just by using the main dial, just like before. I also can choose the autofocus mode. I can choose one-shot autofocus. I can choose AI focus autofocus and AI servo autofocus. Let's just stick with one shot. I can also choose if I'm going to use single shooting, where the camera will just take one photo. If I want to do continuous shooting, where if I press down the shutter release button and hold, it'll take multiple photos. This is also where my self-timer options are. I'm just going to stick on single shooting because I'm taking a landscape after all. I can also choose metering here, evaluative metering, partial metering. I can go through all those options too. And lastly, I can choose the image size and quality right here. I can choose RAW, I can choose large JPEG, I can choose a somewhat less large JPEG. I can go through all of these options. So the Quick Control button is an awesome way to go through and change a bunch of your settings quickly without having to go through your menus.